Sweden is a country that in the 15th century is really poor and doesn't have a very large army, plus a moose. Additionally, it's not even a free country because we start the game as a member of the Kalmar Union, so we're subject to the King of Denmark, who is Christopher III of Bavaria, and he's not my king. And in this guide, I'll show you step by step how to win the war for independence. Then I'll move on to dominate the Baltic, turning it into an internal Swedish lake, picking up a few personal unions along the way, plus some colonies in the New World, which will make Sweden the most powerful country in the world. And I'll use that power to reach for control over the Holy Roman Empire, of course, as a Protestant country. I'll also make one gigantic mistake along the way, but you'll see that at the right moment. So, Iron Man, let's go! Welcome Imperialists, Lucas here. But seriously, what's with Sweden and those moose? I typed funny Sweden and it's all moose images. Anyway, my first step will be to perform a Swexit and declare independence as Sweden. To do that, I'll go through all the starting missions one by one. Swedish alliances. It's easiest to get them with Denmark's rivals. For me, those are these countries, but be careful, Denmark also often rivals Burgundy. Getting a personal union with them makes things a lot easier. But I didn't get that, so I'll try another way. I improve relations with Poland and England, then it's time for the estates. Which means I need to go to the estates and hand out privileges. I take privileges for admin and military points. I can't take a third because we start Sweden with only 26% crown land. The rest of the privileges I handed out are as follows. Yes, I know, very unconventional. That's because expand the fortification and church sanctuaries are easy to later revoke and replace with more useful ones. I don't take cheaper advisors, since we're going to war for independence, which means stability loss. And lastly, loans. I had a chance from the agenda to get a cheaper admin advisor if I paid them off, so I did just that. I complete the mission, and as a result, I gain the support of every estate I gave 3 privileges to. In this case, that's the clergy, who can give me 200 papal influence, or the nobility, who will give me a cheaper advisor. The burghers, whom I didn't pick, would have given me 5 warships. I've got England on my side, so I probably won't need those. Unfortunately, I only get support after completing a few tasks tied to one of the privileges. To get rid of it, to be exact. Honestly, I would normally go for the papal influence. It's super strong early to get 200 points. We could spend them on morale, for instance. Or after declaring war, we could have more manpower. Let's not forget diplomatic reputation, it's also super useful early on. But I know Sweden needs good advisors, so I'll take the military advisor who's 75% cheaper and gives discipline. The cool part is, he's usually young, so he'll stick around a while. At least I hope so this time. I hire him right away, which gets me 10 military points. If you're not feeling confident about winning this war, wait until you reach tech level 4. Having a military advisor also lets me complete the next mission, Military Advice, which gives me Johan I Vasa. A pretty solid general, 1441, and if we win, he'll become our ruler. As long as we gain independence before the date runs out, which shouldn't be a problem. Speaking of time running out, check ENEBA, there's a cool sale going on. I've got a special discount code for you, it cuts costs by 8%. Use the links in my description, highly recommend it, Lucas. Also, I'll take another burgher privilege for prestige and again for taxes. I pull my fleet back to Stockholm and move my army to the Norwegian border. I won't declare war for another half a year or so, so I disable forts for now to save money. In January, I insult the Danes hard. Lithuania wants to support my independence, which is great. Same with England, but I'll wait to improve relations with Poland. Good relations are needed for that one mission. Just in case, I also start improving relations with Burgundy. I pull my diplomat from England and start building a spy network in Denmark. With relations with Poland over 100, I now complete the Swedish alliances mission. And now every Danish rival supports my independence. If you're up for a challenge, you could try winning the war solo. You get some nice manpower bonuses, or you could just give in and get annexed. I call my allies. Poland was the last one not supporting me, and now they are. Before declaring war, make sure to turn on these 2 fortifications, those 2 others can wait. Then I recruit the Free Company mercs, final step in prepping for the civil war. Wait a month more. I enable fort defense on the provinces bordering Denmark, then I can forget about it. Swedish rebellion begins. With my allies, I declare the war for independence. Yep, I have double the strength. Wait, why am I only losing 1 point? Freedom! A not so great ruler took the throne, but I'm not too worried, we'll get Johan Vasa after the war anyway. I don't do that one mission yet. First strike hits Norway, completely crushed their army. Now I start carpet sieging, sending 1000 troops to every province. Got time since the Danes are stuck on my forts, which don't have many defenders, but it should be enough. Unless they get a wall breach, Poland will deal with the order and probably the rest of the German allies. As you can see, I'm carpet sieging all of Norway. With this, they can't recruit more troops. Poland took a union over Lithuania, not that it changes much, they're still in the war. Now I raise stability by 2 points, and the third point comes from a mission. This also gives me some territorial claims. I use Lithuania's sacrifice to lift my fort's siege. Lithuania wrecked part of Denmark's army and pulled the rest away. Much appreciated for about 5 seconds. Oh look, the English showed up. How nice. All of Norway is occupied. I leave 1,000 troops on each fort to prevent them from recruiting. Now I strike at Sjælland where I need to take the fortress. Don't send too few troops, they'll attack across the strait. Better to be safe than stack wiped. Danes are in Poland now. Poznan fell. Not good for Poland. Funny thing is, I know the Great Poland can lose to tiny Denmark. Oh no, England got the War of the Roses mid-fight. At least they gave Maine to France, avoiding war. I take military tech 4, and with that advantage, I go help Poland. I don't want to lose that alliance. Herdor, Swedish infantry. Dang, the Danes held up better than I thought. No stack wipe. Too many of them survived. Poland peaced out, so I got black flagged. At least I kept the alliance. Meanwhile, I improved relations with Burgundy enough to get a royal marriage. Good chance for an alliance after the war. Anyway, I win independence plus take 3 extra provinces. Would have been perfect to take the Danish capital, but I can't cross the strait. England's navy isn't doing anything. I'll get Sjælland next time. Now that Sweden is a free country with a ruined budget, I can do only one thing. Proclaim the kingdom, crown Johan Vasa as king and go to war with Novgorod. My country's near bankruptcy, so I have to delete most of my forts. I'll keep one in Skåne to defend against Denmark. Norway shouldn't be a problem. The Obo fort goes too, leaving just one in Viborg. Thanks England for the support. Now I break our alliance. Instead, I ally Burgundy.
Nice.
With a good ruler like Johan, I'll aim for balanced development. I hire the cheapest admin advisor I can find. After the war, I also got back around 3% crown land. And yes, I did forget to seize land before the war. But hey, it's me, you should expect me to forget obvious stuff. Time for the next war. Novgorod won't be a threat. Here's their army, and it's gone. So I've got autonomy issues, my own fault. So for now, I'll develop Stockholm only, using Diplo and admin points. Yes, I remembered to issue the right edict here, but I forgot to revoke those defensive edicts I no longer need. While developing Stockholm, I'll also develop Renaissance. It's after 1450 and Renaissance popped in Urbino. I totally missed that. Now that all of Novgorod is occupied, I lower back my troops. That lets me loot some Novgorod's provinces, not much gold though. Soon I have 100% war score. Novgorod surrenders and I take the whole area. See, I get 47 aggressive expansion for that. If I made them my vassal, I'd get 53. And I lose fewer Diplo points this way. Then I release Novgorod as my vassal. They even love me for it. Hey, who's their prince? Looks like I'm ahead of Muscovy in tech. So next up, war with them, with Poland's help. I want to feel safe. Goal, recover Novgorod for Novgorod. If you're a beginner, skip this step and attack Muscovy later. Like when they're in a war with Kazan or the Great Horde, that's the perfect moment to backstab them. But I'm not a beginner, so war. First things first, I'll focus on war goal. And suppressing the rebellion in Novgorod? Seriously? That's actually kind of funny. As Sweden, I'm really interested in getting Protestantism to appear as soon as possible. That's why in all those events, I'll choose the options that speed it up. Beautiful! The first forts have fallen. Wait, where did the Muscovite vassal troops retreat to? Look how far they went, and I completely wiped them out. While I'm at it, I'll crush some rebels too. A woman as heir to the throne. Alright, she's got weak legitimacy, but those stats are just too good. Or a cheaper advisor? Damn, that's a tough choice. These Swedish female names are kinda weird. To end the war with Muscovy quickly, I'm marching on Moscow. After I take Moscow, I'll burn it down. Apparently that used to be a thing. And basically, to not drag this out, I'm gaining the following territories for Novgorod. I'm taking a ton of money, of which probably half will go to me, but only 268. What exactly did Poland do in this war? They got their asses kicked, that's what. Whatever, that's the last time I'm inviting Poland to a war. But at least I can now pay off my debts. Almost. Paying off those loans let me take out new, bigger ones, which I'll use to build a fortress in Stockholm. That's necessary to settle my debt with the nobility. I also formed an alliance with the Pope, so now I get a cheaper administrative advisor. I think it's worth it. I'll continue multitasking with Sweden, dealing with the peasants. I have to build 10 manufactories, which is expensive, so it'll take some time. I'll also need to get the Swedish economy back on track to earn more, and I'll have to declare another war on the Danes to conquer a single province. Because I totally missed it during the last peace deal, and that's to eventually get the Norwegian crown. Oh, and securing Livonia too. But from what I see, Denmark's already attacking it. Luckily, I checked the diplomacy tab, and which wars are ongoing. Denmark attacked Gotland, and for now at least isn't interested in that area. So there's a good chance they won't conquer anything. I'm not attacking in the meantime because I don't want to go to war with the Teutonic Order, because then they won't get the Danzig event if they're at war. And that can fire in just 3 years. Yeah, in this run I want Danzig to go to Poland, because sadly it's needed for them to form the Commonwealth, and I'd rather that happen than me taking over 2 unions. I'm taking the standard first government reform, more taxes, less noble power. Before the next war with Denmark, I need to build a stronger navy based around galleys. The fortress in Stockholm is built, so I fulfilled my obligation. Which means, oh no, I'll lose 20 army tradition and the nobility gets some land. But hey, I introduced the Renaissance in Sweden. And the Prussian Confederation just fired. For me, it's the perfect time to attack the Livonian Order. I also have a tech advantage over them, so I'm not expecting any problems in this war. After Rival falls, it's time to crush their army. No problem! And I even stack wiped them. Wait, they've got more forts? Jesus, how many are there? And they caught my spy. Come on. Alright, let Novgorod maintain those forts. I'm not paying for that. I have to admit, I'm surprised how well my Swedish ships are sinking enemy fleets. I'm surprised because I'm literally sending whole fleets to the bottom. And Sweden doesn't even start with any naval bonuses. But I do have cracked infantry and cheaper mercenaries. No way. How did Poland not take Marienburg? How could they mess that up? Although I see the order still has an alliance with Denmark, I'll use that. After Riga falls, I'm going after Gotland. I think I've done what the Danes couldn't. As for Riga, I'm making it my vassal. I'm not annexing it, not deving it, not releasing it, because doing that would make it lose a certain modifier, and this way it keeps it. And since I've got a cap on monarch points, I'm embracing the Renaissance. And I'm also picking up another admin tech. And yeah, the first idea group I planned to take was military. Standout Sweden eventually goes with innovative and quality ideas. That combo gives you literal space marines, and makes your country practically unbeatable. Another build I want to try on Sweden someday is espionage and offensive. That'll let me conquer a lot more thanks to reduced aggressive expansion. And take forts quickly thanks to policy combos. In this run, as I've been doing lately, I'm playing tall, so I'm taking aristocratic and infrastructure ideas. Yeah, I'm building Sweden for cavalry. I don't think anyone's done that before. Turns out Sweden has a chain of short missions that lets you develop territory at very low cost. And I've always wanted to see if that's worth it. Oh, Sweden finally became a great power. Gotland's mine and all of Livonia too, which surprisingly no one cares about. Next step, attack the Danes. But I need to make sure the Teutonic Order supports them in that war, so I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm paying off their debt. And with Poland's help, I'm attacking the Danes again. Oh, I forgot to transport my army to land. Success! After these conquests, I've become the great northern power. Winter is coming. Oh, and I developed Riga. Very good. Refugees arrived from Byzantium. Only the cool kind. They lower my tech costs. This time I'm taking just 2 provinces from the Danes for myself. I actually need both. One for this mission, and the other for the one where I have to integrate the entire Sami culture. Oh, and Mecklenburg for Poland, which is actually the most expensive part. I'm deliberately taking so little so I can attack the Danes again in 7 years and get the Union over Norway. Now I'm suppressing rebellions, and I can lower my army maintenance costs. Why am I suddenly not making money? What happened here? Actually, I know what happened. Autonomy. I totally forgot about it, so I'm reducing it everywhere. Anyway, I need to hold off on conquests for now because, look, I have 40 aggressive expansion. I'm nearly at the cap. And look how much I'm earning now that I reduced autonomy. It's honestly the most important economic stat in this game, and I won't even get a major wave of rebellions. It's 1470, and Sweden's situation has been stabilized. So now I can choose a Swedish policy path regarding the Polish crown. King of Poland, that has a nice ring to it. I could conquer them or live in harmony. This time I'll go for the personal union. Usually I just conquer Poland. To get the personal union over Poland, I need to have the same dynasty, more prestige, and my ruler's legitimacy also needs to be very high. Alternatively, owning 20 provinces in the Polish region, but that's not really feasible. I'll deal with the shared dynasty part closer to the year 1500. Anyway, time to harvest more in Moscow and grab some money, also to retake a few provinces. This time without Poland. I have a 2-tech advantage over Russia, so this'll be an easy war. Basically, I'm locking most of the Muscovite army on this island. Not that I need to, but this way I won't have to chase their armies all over, and I'm handling their vassals' armies with no problem at all. During this war, I also noticed my vassals finally became more loyal, so I started taking their trade. And that helped my finances a bit. Easy war, although I didn't grab everything because unfortunately Kazan attacked. With the money I got, I'm doing a few things. First, I'm paying off all my loans again. And then I'm handling trade, building marketplaces everywhere. I'm also going to develop provinces to level 10 so I can build natural harbors. I'll build a few churches too. Although actually, I have to cancel all these buildings because I totally forgot I already have papal influence. And it's best to use that for cheaper construction. I resolved the issue of minorities in my country. So I lowered autonomy there by 100%, I added manpower, and I got the first level of the privilege for forest and tree development. The Ents approve of Swedish policy, it's not much, but it's something. No way, Castile found a gold city? I never get that lucky. And I won't surprise anyone when I say I'm taking another government reform. In the age of discovery, nothing's better than taxes, which I instantly distribute across all provinces. Yeah, I'm even giving up extra trade bonuses to do it. Well, that's a bit better. Finally, this country's making money. I can take action. My relations with Poland are so good, they're coming over to suppress my rebellions. And to get Poland to do that, I had to grant them military access. I also started supporting my candidate in the Polish royal election. But I gotta admit, I have a problem here. Every now and then, my diplomat stops supporting that candidate. which means he stops generating election points. When I notice, I resend the diplomat and I've still got the same amount of points, but sometimes I miss it. And you know, that could cost me the throne in Poland. At first I thought my ruler or the election candidate died, since those heirs are pretty old, but no, because when I resend the diplomat, progress is retained. Does anyone know what's going on here? Anyway, I'm finally taking the first age ability, and of course I'm going for reduced aggressive expansion, especially since my truce with Denmark just expired, so I demand the Norwegian crown and change the culture in Sjælland. Why didn't I click that earlier? Something tells me the war for the Norwegian crown will be easy. Well, sorry, but allies have to do something, and Denmark doesn't have much money to loot anyway. This time, the war's super easy, I didn't even need to send in my second army anywhere. Unfortunately, I have to take a really weird peace deal because besides the Norwegian crown, I also need to take 2 specific provinces from Norway. This will let me complete the next mission faster, which gives me Arctic expansion and minus 40% local development cost. And all provinces in Scandinavia will get plus 10 prosperity. It's gonna cost me only 10 more aggressive expansion points than usual. So Norwegian crown acquired, I'll take those bonuses gladly. Because now they'll be a more loyal vassal, and up next is the conquest of Denmark. So now I'll gradually develop all my forest provinces to 6 total development. I've already built workshops in all my copper and iron provinces. I didn't have many of those, so now I'm building them elsewhere in order of profitability. But I guess I need to do the rest too, because I'll need to build manufactories to avoid getting a civil war. Alright, that happens when I switch religion to Protestantism, so I need to hurry up anyway. This game is trolling me. I just finished developing those Scandinavian provinces, and what do I get? An event for cheaper development in Scandinavia. God, I love this game. Okay, it took a while, but I developed all forest and wooded provinces to level 6. And now all Arctic provinces will get minus 40% development cost and an extra building. Those are really powerful bonuses. And besides that, all of Scandinavia gets plus 10% prosperity progress. Prosperity is one of the most powerful positive modifiers, because when it's positive, it lowers development costs and increases production. And honestly, I'll give this one province to Norway because it's an eyesore. Hello, this is future Lucas, who's wiser. Don't give that province away, you'll find out why later. And regarding the Arctic expansion privilege, look, it works in all these provinces. Exactly the ones with the Arctic climate. We don't have a ton of them, but it's like a third of Sweden. Basically, it cancels the negative modifier those provinces usually have. I'll also start the slow process of annexing Novgorod. It'll take a while, so no need to rush. I'm also saving money. I need about 4000 gold to complete the Deleskogen mission. First, of course, I'll need to increase my income. And now the fun part, I'll get a bonus to development costs in provinces with iron, copper, and so on. Jesus, I already have so many temporary development modifiers here. Time for the next phase of suppressing rebellions, and to be honest, it's better to do this solo. I mean, provoke those rebellions and rush to suppress them as quickly as possible, except for the kind that can trigger across all provinces, but all the rest, absolutely. We've got specific provinces we want to move to, stand there, and provoke rebellions. Remember, rebellions usually happen in provinces with the highest development level. The reforms of Gustavus Adolphus, an event that can trigger after the year 1480, and frankly the strategy here depends on how you plan to play. If you're going for the mercenary idea group, there's nothing better you can pick than this. Mercenary Core. Mercenary maintenance minus 10%, mercenary manpower plus 50%, very strong. When you combine it with your national idea and this idea group, you've got an unstoppable army until the end of the game. If you're playing a standard setup focusing on strong infantry, nothing beats a professional army. And I'll probably choose that option, because the last one is about increasing your navy's strength, and honestly, I don't feel the need for that right now. Although I must admit, my main issue at this moment is the lack of manpower. That's because we're a low development country, which is hard to develop right now, so I don't have much manpower. Even after suppressing rebellions, I'm having manpower issues. So where's the room for fighting serious wars, like with Austria, England, over money? I think my first proper solo wars will probably happen once I finish the infrastructure idea group and get 20 to 25 years to calmly develop Swedish provinces, or the ones I hold by then. Also, I just noticed, we've got some really interesting colonial missions. I thought we needed colonial ideas, but no, Sweden has a unique path that doesn't require those ideas at all. I just need to build 3 barks. Poland has also integrated Gdansk, so now we just wait to hit administrative tech level 10 for my Waza to take the throne and we can take over Poland. Yay! The Burgundian inheritance event? So that means I'm about to have a war with Austria and I was just about to attack Moscow. Before that happens though, I'll start completing my colonial missions. I think it's time to discover the new world. Honestly, ever since I got Burgundy, I don't really have opponents left in Europe. The only country that could still oppose me is the Ottoman Empire. The only problem is they love me. So which diplomatic slot do I free up now? I'm powerful enough as Sweden that Burgundy is a very loyal union. I don't have to worry about it at all. Plus, in the meantime, I've been boosting trust with them. I discovered Greenland and I'm colonizing it right away, and now the Empire is demanding Burgundy from me. Naturally, I give them the... I feel like I've got a slight edge in this war. I send my troops straight to Vienna and it looks like I'll take it without much trouble. All of Austria's armies rushed the papacy, and I've got the Ottomans on my side. Ha ha! From Austria's allies, I'm taking war reparations and as much gold as I can. From Austria itself, I'll humiliate them and take what I can. From what I see, it's not much, unfortunately. But the war reps will flow. Next, I'm off to Moscow to convince the investors there, with sword and fire. Captured the fortress in Pskov. Jesus, that's hard to pronounce. Now I'm going to crush the Muscovite army. As usual, right when I'm at war, the Protestant Reformation has to appear. That's bad, because you can't change religion during wars. I want to be fast about it, because I care about the centers of Reformation. And remember, for every new religion, which appears this way, you can have 3 such centers. And one already exists. Oh well, I'll have to end the war with Moscow quickly. I'm heading straight for Moscow and I'll take what I can. This time I'm taking the following from Muscovy. Lots of money, war reparations and 1 extra province, then I'll sell land. And basically, I've got 2,500 gold to start building a monument. But if I remember correctly, I need an extra 1,500 gold in the treasury to upgrade the monument in Delskogen to level 3 basically for free. Since I'm not at war, I'm converting to Protestantism. And I immediately become defender of the faith to get 2 missionaries. I've got a few provinces to convert. Of course, I start with the ones with the most unity. I want to use the 10-year period of boosted missionary strength. I'm also taking right of donations. That'll let me recover the prestige I lost during the religion switch, and I think because Protestantism appeared so fast, I didn't get the chance to build manufactories. Spent money on stupid stuff. Honestly, I completely forgot about this national disaster. But hey, anything for content, right? Let me tell you, playing as Sweden, I'm doing so many things at once I'm getting lost. I thought I was in for 50 boring years, but now I'm changing religion, diving into colonization, boosting Delskogen's economy, and trying to get a personal union over Poland. All at the same time. Oh, and also integrating Novgorod, which I totally forgot about. Meanwhile, Poland started attacking Muscovy. Curious which territories they'll take. I discovered Jolov, which apparently likes me now. I also prepared 2 new armies with a combat width of 1844. Eventually, I'll increase the cannons to 10. I just hit my force limit. Success! I've got the same dynasty as Poland, which gave me points, as you can see. Improved relations with Poland and boosted my legitimacy. Though that ruler of mine, he's not that young, he's older than my current ruler. So after 1 free election, I've got to secure it and try to push another of my rulers in the next election. Especially since I'd rather go to war with the Commonwealth and force a union over them, not just Poland and Lithuania separately. Looks like I've discovered everything I could in the new world for now. This is how it looks. I see practically the whole coast and the start of Africa. Problem is, England has started colonizing here, so I'll have a war with them, which is actually good. I'll start colonizing only after I settle in Greenland, and more importantly, after I get through the civil war and raise my budget to about 100 gold in total income. Rebellion, and I'm off to crush it, though I took a big hit to stability. Great, now they've also increased my autonomy. To end this civil war, I need 2 stability points and no rebels. It's actually fairly easy to get rid of. Even though I just became eligible for the mission that gives me a 20-year casus belli on Poland to form a union, like I said, I'm not doing that yet. Unfortunately, it'll take at least 30 to 40 years before I hit Admin Tech 10. I need to protect Swedish moose from evil rebels. Since it'll take a long time to boost my province's development, I'm going for development as my first pick. It also reduces building costs. The age of discovery is almost over. While I still have feudal taxes, I'm exploiting development across the country. Remember, all tax modifiers affect the gold you get from this option. Then I switch all edicts to development edicts. I'll wait half a year to finish the burger agenda, which gives another minus 10% development cost. Honestly, this Swedish revolt is pretty fun. The longer it lasts, the harder it gets. At first it gave me 1 rebellion, now quite a few more, so now I pick the second option and go smash all the rebels. Perfect, last rebellion crushed, stability regained, just 1 point. Nothing positive really. But back to developing the country, I already got the burger modifier for development cost. So now I trigger the golden era. Perfect timing, I'll be developing for the next 50 years. And there's nothing better for development than the all-power cost modifier. It reduces the base cost that your development modifiers are then applied to. Or maybe it's the other way around. Anyway, there you go, do the math. Sweden might not be the best country for development, but with these costs, it might actually work. First, up to level 10 development everywhere I can using diplomatic points, I have fewer diplo points than military. Plus, diplomatic points increase your income from both production and trade. For Sweden, that's worth doing for goods like grain and fish. And actually, since I ended the civil war, I get that modifier for the rest of the game. It's even stronger than Poland's grain crown. I'll skip things like navy supplies for now, useless at this point. Furs become profitable around the early 1600s, so I'll develop those second. For now, I'm intentionally falling behind in Diplotech by like 3 levels. I want to stack modifiers for being behind so I can later catch up cheaply. The ahead of time bonus isn't worth much now, just trade efficiency and less corruption. I'd rather have better production at this stage in Sweden. Oh, didn't even notice, I've got almost 5,000 gold, so I'm clicking the Delskogen monument upgrade and the mission for it. We've got a few options here. Best one, click the level +1 monument upgrade. Cost 1,500 ducats instead of 5,000, even though it's for level 3. That way the level 3 construction begins and will only cost 2,500 ducats to speed up, not 5,000. Or you can wait 20 years and it'll finish on its own. If I remember correctly, this saves around 10,000 ducats. Meanwhile, I integrated Novgorod, which lets me progress my mission tree. Best part, I now get Novgorodian culture accepted. Looks like someone noticed in the mission that you could upgrade trade centers to level 3 easily. Now it's capped at level 2. Still gave me some territorial claims. I also did my building trick, taking cheap 1% loans to build all my manufactories. As you can see, once it's done, we'll get about a third more income from them. Then I repay the loans and do it again after manufactories are built. As for Novgorod's provinces, I added most to states except one area, because it's in the White Sea trade node. There's only one trade center here and I'll upgrade it so it alone generates over 50% of the region's trade. That'll give me an extra merchant and more importantly, all provinces not in a trade company, so all but that one, will get a production bonus. Hover over goods produced to see the modifier. Personally, I'd love to do something similar with Novgorod and Neva, but sadly the missions required me to turn them into states, so that's the path I've committed to. Wanting to take advantage of the fact that we're still in the age of discovery and my aggressive expansion is reduced, I'm going to conquer the entirety of Denmark now, since it only costs 98% war score. That's why I took the second religious idea that lowers aggressive expansion. An added bonus is that it also reduces the province cost by 10%. The Danish army ceases to exist and I lose yet another point of stability. Honestly, I've lost count of how many times this has happened. I also called in Poland to help. Why shouldn't they occupy those provinces too? Why should I be the only one losing manpower, especially when I still don't have much? I also managed to secure another heir to the Polish throne. I plan to spread Protestantism across the empire, so I'll be forcing conversions wherever I can. Conquering all of wealthy Denmark, including all its valuable territories, costs me 52 aggressive expansion. So it's worth doing now. If I waited for the next era, it'd probably cost over 70, which would guarantee a coalition. And yes, Denmark ceases to exist as a country. And interestingly, after Denmark falls, I upgrade all trade centers in the region. I also get 200 military points, which means I need to spend the ones I already have. Best use is probably embracing an institution, since colonialism has appeared. And honestly, I'll develop that one province, it has iron. Right now, iron doesn't cost much, but in the future it'll be worth more than copper. Let's be honest, I've got a lot of development discounts right now, so I should take advantage. First using diplomatic points, then military ones, up to level 15. At level 15, I'll take expand infrastructure, which will further reduce development costs. I'm also done selling land, since I care more about reforming into a republic as fast as possible. And the age of reformation has started, a time when, in theory, I'll be able to conquer more, although honestly, I don't know where I'll even do that. Since I've gained some new provinces, I'll likely have to build workshops in them. Okay, I still have a lot of workshops to construct. Time for a new raiding expedition to England. My goal is to take that one province, I'm not calling in allies to help. The first strike will be on Vienna, which I'll loot after capturing. Meanwhile, my navy will be destroying my enemy's fleets. That'll help me gain naval dominance, unless the English navy sinks me. Though I don't see any heavy ships here, it's a purely transport fleet. And I must admit, they fought hard. Harder than the Austrian army, that's for sure. Vienna surrenders, and I've grabbed some money. Then I'll push the English out of Burgundy, because they've got quite a few troops there. Oh, they got stack wiped. How nice. Ugh, I've got to pull half my army back due to rebellions. The other half will siege provinces with the help of my galleys. No heavy ships here, and for some reason the British Navy isn't attacking. Though, to be fair, the galleys here are stronger. Oh, right, since it's a new era, I need to update my edicts. Where I have trade bonuses, those little square icons. I set the edict that boosts trade power. I didn't have many Baltic provinces, but in Lubeck it's practically all of them. Hey, I might even gain dominance in Lubeck after sorting this region out post-war. That's why I'm making sure to build marketplaces in all those square icon provinces. Those have the biggest trade bonuses and are really the only ones where it's worth collecting trade. Thankfully, religious or cultural non-acceptance doesn't affect trade power. Autonomy does, but I'll lower that after the war. My enemies really don't stand a chance. I'm wiping their armies the moment they appear. I also held a theological debate about the future of Sweden's religion. I can go a few different routes. Too bad the Norse path doesn't work like restoring Zoroastrianism, and honestly, I don't remember how to reintroduce it. It was super convoluted and very RNG heavy. Though I do have a Norwegian episode for that. I'm also not going the tolerance route. I'll focus on joining the Protestant Reformation to get those bonuses during the League Wars. And thanks to that, if I remember correctly, there's a chance we'll lead the Protestant side as Sweden. Now quickly over to Portugal. Oh, Calvinists have popped up, here in Dortmund. Eventually Portugal will be paying me too, and I think I'll conquer an island from them. Which I do, Madeira. Now Swedes will be vacationing here. Realistically, I took that island for access to Africa and the Mediterranean. I can't believe I pulled it off, but I landed in England, and not to work. I'm the one bringing capital from England to Sweden. Plus, I've taken a fortress up north. This will let me easily attack England or Scotland in the future. With the spoils, I embrace the institution, which will now spread nicely. Turns out I've got a problem with my rivals. For now, I won't pick any. I also completed the Vasa reforms, which mostly gave me military points and some small bonuses. But from what I can see, I'll need to develop some Finnish provinces. That'll give me another trade center in the province of Nyland. Jesus, Sweden is insanely powerful in Baltic trade. And I've never seen the AI make use of that. The next mission in this path requires me to have barracks in every province of that culture, so I'm building them now. Meanwhile, I want to create colonial nations in this region, so I'm recruiting a free company here. I'll use them to conquer all those small states, so a colonial nation spawns. I've got a decent income now, 50 gold net. Well, 12 from war reparations, but still, that'll fund my colonies. And once again, a ruler from my dynasty is elected to the Polish throne. Perfect. Honestly, those points are really nice. And Poland already has admin tech 9, so the Commonwealth might be forming soon. Meanwhile, I'm launching an invasion of Muscovy and the New World. And I've completed the Finnish Special Mercenary Cavalry Company path. They won't cost professionalism to recruit. Nice perk. This special company is insanely strong and also cheap. And there's no penalty for running all cavalry. Hey, I even know where I'll recruit them. Okay, I'll recruit them in Finland and send them to the New World. In the next wars with Muscovy, I've captured Moscow, so the Russian Empire definitely isn't happening. I've finally also built manufactories in grain, cattle and fish provinces in sufficient numbers. That boosts their production by 33%, which is an insanely strong modifier. My aggressive expansion in the Holy Roman Empire region is practically non-existent, so I'm starting an invasion of Lübeck. After all, that little republic is stealing a lot of trade from me. Uh-oh, I'll be facing a lot of opponents, so I'll call for reinforcements. I forgot that the Emperor calls his allies to defend the HRE. Oh well, if I had remembered, I wouldn't have called my own allies and all the gold would have gone to me. By the way, I've just developed Daleskogan. I can also complete this mission, but I want to test something with it. Unfortunately, I'll only be able to check it after this war, because I have a feeling this might be one of the most powerful economic missions in the game for any nation. In the meantime, the English adopted the Calvinist Reformation instead of Anglicanism. A real shame. It would have been easier to conquer Anglican Great Britain, because it would result in less aggressive expansion due to being the only country with that religion in the world. As my third idea group, I decided to take trade ideas for a few reasons. Firstly, I need merchants, a lot of them. I currently lack enough to steer trade from nodes within my range where I don't actually have merchants. Also, I'll get to very strong privileges, especially the one that increases goods production. And that 20% boost to production, that's massive. Plus, the increased foreign trade power is also pretty nice. Because I have many trade nodes like Kiev and Pest where I don't own provinces but have merchants pushing trade onward. And that stat will directly impact their efficiency. I'm not taking military ideas because my army is already good enough. I need to train my troops, so I'm training them on English forces. War is won, more provinces captured, and best of all, an impressively large Commonwealth was formed right after. Which means the time has finally come to claim its throne. So now I'm breaking the alliance with the Commonwealth and in 5 years I'll declare war. And from what I can see, the Commonwealth has some very nice military ideas, so I need to prepare for this war too. Especially since they've got quite a lot of troops. Alright, I've got these 5 years of peace, so I'll go check how this mission works in detail. First, I grant one province to Riga because it contains cattle. Then I click the mission and all my provinces that produce cattle, grain or fish increase their production by 33%. I wonder if future provinces I conquer will also get this modifier. When hovering over the production, you can see the modifier. It's active, but it's not present in the province I gave to Riga. Then I take the province back from Riga and the bonus appears. Oh my god, this is going to be insanely powerful. Just look how much cattle and grain there is in Lithuania and the Commonwealth's territory. It's like having the Commonwealth crown active until the end of the game. And I already showed you in a previous episode how profitable that can be. Honestly, the more I play Sweden, the more I think it's one of the most interesting and powerful nations if you make good use of its missions and potential. And just like that, the peace period with the Commonwealth is over, so I attack. But first, I had to insult them deeply to avoid losing 2 stability points. and I'm going in without allies. Mano a mano plus the Commonwealth's allies, they've got quite a few forts. The moment I started the war, I lost all 3 of my generals, literally one after the other. I launched the war by attacking Polish forts directly and left one army in the rear, though probably unnecessarily. Well, I'll send it to attack too through Lithuanian territory. And then my first colony, New Sweden, was founded. It will be a self-governing colony as usual, so it can colonize this region quickly. That is the 13 colonies region, USA. Can you imagine Americans today having to speak Swedish? As for the newly founded colony, 2 things need to be done. They're not making much money, so I give them a few gold subsidies. Even 10 would be ideal, but I'm not making that much yet. And second, build them a fort in their capital. It's also a good idea to click on your colony's coat of arms and mark the star. That way you'll get notified about any wars the colony is involved in. Alright, back to the war with Poland. So far it's going quite well. 2 Polish forts have fallen. Time for the first big battle. Let's see whose army is stronger. On paper, our stats are comparable. I used terrain advantage since I'm defending here. I also had numerical superiority and I thrashed the Poles. Pathetic. Where's the winged hussars? So the road to Warsaw is basically wide open. Warsaw didn't hold out for long. Then I continued hitting the Polish army and advanced toward Krakow. And in the second battle of Warsaw, the Polish hussars finally gave me a beating. Beautiful. This might be the only war where I'm cheering for the enemy. Still, even after a not too long war, I managed to grab most of Poland's richest provinces, which let me force the Commonwealth into a personal union, and no one really cared. Wow, that was a bloody war, and it looks amazing. Sweden and the Commonwealth, 2 beautiful bold names on the map. Thanks to this, I'm now an incredibly powerful empire, almost twice the size of the next strongest power. And now I'll show you how to generate an insane income. Right now it's only 155 gold, but we'll increase that dramatically soon. Because as Sweden, I don't really have space to build more manufactories. But I just acquired some massively powerful Polish lands. And now I've got room for manufactories. The AI had only built 2 there before. Granted, by building up Poland, it'll initially benefit more, but more importantly, we'll raise the trade value in Krakow, Kiev and the Baltic. Some of that trade will flow to the Baltic, where I dominate, and I'll take the lion's share of income. Then I'll forward it from the Baltic to Lubeck. Manufactories are the only economic buildings that boost both income-generating stats, production and trade. That's why I'm not building any in Burgundy, because I wouldn't benefit from it. In the English channel, the profits go to England, not me. After seizing the Polish crown, Sweden became the undisputed ruler of Eastern Europe. Wunderbar! Oh, that'll come in handy. I also moved trade to Lubeck. Now I'm launching a series of quick wars against England and its allies, against Pomerania to claim all its Baltic coast. These wars practically play themselves now. Also against France and Spain for my colonies. Literally 10 years later, I'm making 333 gold, so I practically doubled my income. Well, 37 of that is from war reparations, but you get the point. Remember when I told you not to give away that one province? You needed to complete that mission without having to annex Norway. I'm too lazy to manipulate losses in war, so I'll have to annex Norway now. Shame, because Norway had just started colonizing too, even though they don't have ideas. I saw some of their colonies around here. Finally, the League War has started and factions formed immediately, so I'm joining. Now I need 2 allies, preferably electors. I'm now becoming the Protestant sword that will dethrone the false emperor. This mission also makes me the leader of the League, which means I can declare war on the emperor and his Catholic coalition whenever I want. And I see Great Britain is on the opposite side, so I'm sending troops. Oh no, I'll lose my 200-year alliance with the Czechs. Hey, who cares? Troops are in place, let's go. And let's be honest, this won't be a hard war when I have the Ottoman Empire on my side and twice the force limit of my enemy. To the victory! Yes, I even got military bonuses. I have a feeling my army will be unstoppable. This won't be a hard war at all. Now my ruler is also a patron of the arts. And honestly, Poland is doing so well that I don't even need to do much in this war. It'll be an easy victory. Because looking at it, Poland's army is on par with mine. Maybe I built them too many manufactories. Victory at London, and I got a cool general. Hey, I have a better one. Oh my god, the English army is vanishing. Religious war is also a great way to quickly convert other HRE states to Protestantism. And we want as many Protestant states as possible. However, I made one huge mistake. I also converted some of the electors to Protestantism. Don't do that, leave them Catholic. Now I'm going down the list and converting every country I can. Eventually you have to force a religious peace, or rather religious supremacy, on the emperor. And convert him to the true faith, which leads to a beautiful victory with minimal losses. And Sweden itself. I'm not the emperor? I'm not the emperor for a very simple reason. Because I converted most of the electors who weren't allied with me and had just fought me in the war to Protestantism. So they elected another elector they liked more. If I had left the electors Catholic, they would have stopped being electors, and my ally would probably have voted for me. So now I'll just have to go the standard route to gain power in the Holy Roman Empire. Luckily, I've got a mission that improves relations with all Protestant countries. I hope so. I integrated Norway, which means my diplomatic reputation will now be lower for a longer period. And unfortunately, that's mainly why the electors aren't voting for me. But hey, I can now carry out the mission to form the Scandinavian Empire. Until the end of the game, I get an increased maximum absolutism cap, and more importantly, the technology requirement for forming Scandinavia has been removed. While the Swedish ideas are already quite strong and enjoyable to play with, the national ideas of Scandinavia are so much stronger, especially the modifier that gives me one additional building slot in all my provinces. That's cheating, that's seriously cheating. But even more importantly, from this point on we gain access to further Swedish missions. There aren't too many of them, but they'll let me deal with taking over the entire imperial crown and then push through reforms fairly quickly. There are also missions that give us additional mercenary companies, and also more very powerful building-related missions, increasing the building limit, which ultimately lets me build a truly powerful navy and a special flagship. The economic missions available here are also extremely strong, so it's worth completing them as soon as possible. Because we get iron and copper in several provinces, unfortunately I also adopted parliamentarism, which means I don't have the nobility estate, and I don't have the special Swedish units because of that. Although, maybe I can still get them through this somehow. Completing this mission gives us another very powerful privilege that boosts the development of hills, highlands and mountains. They'll now have a 50% reduced development cost, which means we can actually develop them like farmlands now, and the Scandinavian region is getting greener and greener. Having an extra building slot is incredibly strong. Now I can pretty much add buildings for manpower or for force limit everywhere, depending on my needs. I developed a few more Scandinavian provinces, which now lets me complete a mission that changes my production. Basically, Norwegian provinces will now be revealing those resources. And Swedish iron and copper are so good, I can further boost several things in my country, and honestly, there's probably nothing better than reducing artillery costs. But wait, it's only for a few years, so maybe it's best to save that for later. Now it's time for a quick war to weaken the emperor and take the last province on the Baltic, Dithmarschen. I also decided to restore the nobility estate, because that gives me a much higher diplomatic reputation. Oh Jesus, I forgot that it's only temporary. Oh well, for now I can't afford parliamentarism. I'll return to it someday. It's just too good. Nothing like 100,000 Polish soldiers occupying literally one province with a level 3 fort. Thanks to this war, 4 countries now support me and vote for me. And I should extend this war, because Wittelsbach is really old, 60 years, and when he dies, I'll become emperor. But if 4 electors support me, I can also solidify that support by completing a mission. Always nice to get another diplomatic point. I win the war with the emperor, reducing practically all his provinces down to 1. And I don't even take Dithmarschen from the war. Not yet, not this time. Because even the emperor is now almost ready to give up the title and hand it over to me. And if I took that province, I'd get a lot of aggressive expansion. And secondly, the emperor would demand the return of that province, I'd refuse, and that would worsen relations with all the Holy Roman Empire states. And he's really about to die. Unless we want to speed that up and say get rid of the emperor since Nuremberg wants his provinces. So I'll ally with them, quickly rack up 10 favors, really quickly, and provoke a war, one that will involve the emperor. I also triggered one of those events where copper appears and I definitely want it produced in my country. Especially since it costs next to nothing. Only 50 admin points? Really? For more copper? Wait, Nuremberg doesn't want the province anymore. They literally just did. Oh well, I got elected as the new emperor. It's best to now join the empire because we gain a ton of imperial authority. And the electors will now be more eager to vote for us. The next step is converting the heretical principalities. And it's best to start with all the states that have a center of reformation. Luckily, Ansbach can be peacefully convinced for just 1 point of imperial authority to convert its faith. And even better, since the country has only 1 province, the center of reformation disappears after the conversion. Unfortunately, each conversion adds a negative modifier, enforced religious unity, so it's best to start with the biggest countries. Free cities are a bit trickier. You can't use that option on them, you'll need to convert them militarily, and unfortunately I've got 2 free cities I won't be converting anytime soon. I'll also have to reconquer all the provinces marked in yellow stripes because they belong to states that are not members of the Holy Roman Empire. And I can still use my excess imperial authority, since I'm passing the first reform, and bestow imperial grace, ideally on the electors first, because it simply improves relations with those countries, and then pass the first reform. If you want to gain more imperial authority, consider taking that monument in Bohemia. There's nothing stronger for this, but as Sweden, I have access to very powerful missions that need to be completed in sequence. Basically, you click the mission and carry out the reform. Look, one already gives us 43 authority points, and the monthly growth is enormous. Literally 2 years later, we're passing another reform. Now another quick imperial campaign to recover imperial lands. After the war, another reform just to launch another war, this time to take back a province from Savoy. Soon after, I recover all provinces, so I pass the 4th reform. And honestly, with this growth rate, I think within 20 years I'll be able to revoke the privileges. Especially since I'm both an economic and military beast, teaching Americans how to speak Swedish. Let me know how you liked this longer episode where I explain more. And don't forget to get that achievement. All I have to do now is go speed 5, pass reforms, and it'll just pop. And in this episode, I'm showing the best strategy for forming Italy, both peacefully and militarily, which will also help you get certain achievements in Victoria 3.